Breaking news, folks, breaking news. Small Business Superhero Podcast has just landed.
Hey out there, this is a Small Business Superheroes podcast, and guess what we're doing? You see what we're doing? We're podcasting. You're listening and watching to our business give volumes. And so what can you do as a small business owner?
Podcast?
Correct! You can podcast. And you don't need all this fancy equipment. I mean, I'll show you some stuff here. I got this mic. He has his mic.
True story.
There's I have 3 cameras here. If you can see, I got a camera here. I have a little board here. I have a recorder right here behind this television screen. I got a camera up there. I got the soundproof board here. He's drinking a drink.
I've got my energy drink.
Yeah. So as a small business, you're thinking to yourself, podcasting is out there. I don't need to podcast. I don't have the know-how. I don't have the equipment. I'm here to tell you, we started off podcasting. Remember that podcast we did a long time ago?
Oh, yeah. Yes. You're going way back.
In my attic.
Yeah, that's deep cuts.
Yes.
Recording with no equipment.
Ronda Rousey podcast.
Yes. We talked about Ronda Rousey was the champ. She was defending her title. We were talking about UFC.
God, when was that? 2018?
No.
Yes.
No.
Time flies by. 2019, 2018.
It was not 2018. You're talking about 2014. You're talking about way back.
But we did our first podcast on a cell phone.
Yeah.
Because the cell phone technology nowadays are so good. I'm getting really excited about podcasts. This is what I do.
Because
so as a small business hero.
The boy loves his podcast.
Yeah, I love it. We have worked our butt off to get to this point here. But this stuff is not needed. You don't need this stuff to do a successful podcast.
It's true. You can begin. You can get a listenership because people have heard our Ronda Rousey UFC podcast that was recorded on your iPhone 5.
Yeah, it had to be like something
iPhone
like that.
6.
Maybe 6 Plus back then.
And so yeah. People listened to it and they commented. They reached out to you and let you know what they thought. So even like as with the bare minimum of equipment, you can begin. The main thing is to start believing in yourself and your idea.
Yes. And you're exactly right, because I had imposter syndrome for a long time. My voice, I don't talk so clearly. I don't know big words. Sometimes I get words mixed up.
You don't talk good?
I don't be talking good. And so thank God you're here, because I'll say something, you go, you mean this? I'm like, that's what I meant. But we work well together. And thank God we have each other, because, I guess on the color commentary.
What I think you're trying to say is you complete me.
You complete me.
Just say it. It's okay.
It's okay. It's all right. But you're thinking to yourself, I don't have this technology. I don't have that. You know what? You have a small business, and you're working on a small business. And what's the point of your business? Get there and get more customers. Podcasting is a great way to reach new customers, give out advice, give out promos to your stuff or your business, whatever. And I'm telling you, a commercial is a condensed podcast. It tells you information. The podcast gives you more intel. You know more about me now. Because I could do a commercial. Hey, we do podcasts on YouTube. Welcome to the Superpower Small Business. I always say it backwards. Small Business Superheroes podcast. But now you know my personality.
Yeah.
You know his personality.
You know how far back we go knowing each other.
Yes.
There's a lot more information and personal connection you can get with a podcast when you are utilizing a podcast to communicate with your listenership, with your viewership, with your customers, clients, followers, fans, whatever the case may be.
Yes, you're exactly right. This is a great way to give out a message, and that's what we basically, me and him do. Me and the barbarian, I'm the mad scientist. They call me mad scientist. I hook wires up and all that. Go ahead.
What he and I do.
He and I, see? Exactly. You complete me. That was bad. Anyhow, so a podcast is a great tool for marketing your business. And also, we use it for a stress reliever. We started off stress relieving podcast.
Yes, it's true.
Blah, 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 blah. And it turned into like, well, people actually listen to me. Let me give out something more positive. And now I really love giving out positive stuff.
Not just more positive, but we utilized it to as a platform to give out useful information. Because entertainment has its own level of value. We've talked about that several times.
Useful versus entertaining.
Are you useful or are you entertaining? We like to be entertaining, and our initial podcast leaned into the entertainment side of things. And there is great value to that. But we decided, this platform works very well. Yeah. Let's use it to be useful for people as well.
Well, we and you have a passion for helping out small business. I think small business is the backbone of this country. And everybody wants a side hustle. everybody wants to go home and hang out with their family and make some kind of money on the side, doing something like talking. Me and you talk for a living now. Me and you, we express our ideas and help people out through our voices and our mental process nowadays. And I love it. I wake up every morning and I'm so excited to come in and do this.
And there's a very powerful entrepreneurial spirit,
Yes.
especially in North America right now. But worldwide, there's a very strong entrepreneurial spirit where people say, you know what, there's so much in this digital world that's available to me. Once upon a time, if you wanted to make a video, there was physical film involved. And
Oh
the
my
cutting room
gosh,
floor
yeah.
was called that because it was a real room where you would cut film and it would fall to the floor.
You tape it together.
And you can't, the average person it's not feasible for them.
Yeah.
But now with smartphones, with the internet, with Final Cut Pro and Movavi, like for a very small investment up front, you can have the ability to produce entertainment and useful content that was just impossible in years gone by. It's just absolutely impossible for people to do. So now that entrepreneurial spirit that people have, they can chase it down. They can go after it in a way they never, ever could before.
Yeah, you're right, exactly right. You're exactly right. And this is a great platform. And let's talk about the logistics of it. Now, I remember when I first started podcasting, me and you, we had to go and pay for a site to host our audio.
Yes.
And then get an RSS feed and put it wherever, right?
Costed money, had to pay for it.
It cost some money, had to pay for it. And so we put it on YouTube as just an audio file, right? And, YouTube works great. People still listen to it. But nowadays, this is the 21st century. This is 2022. And now you can do a podcast, upload it for free on a certain website. I'll go ahead and say it. We use anchor.fm.
Yeah, Anchor.
That's what we use.
Anchor.fm
is a part of Spotify.
I like the way they named it too, Anchor. It's the anchor for your podcast because from Anchor, you can have your podcast pushed out to Spotify, CastBox, Radio Public,
Amazon.
Apple, Amazon. We're on all of those. iHeartRadio, Pandora.
How much have we spent on that?
Nothing.
Zero.
Absolutely
And we
nothing.
are everywhere on the podcast community. Well, we're still waiting on iHeartRadio, aren't we? Or Pandora, which one?
Pandora is the one we're still waiting on. We have our iHeartRadio. We are on 14 separate podcast platforms.
Not counting YouTube and Patreon.
No, not counting YouTube, not counting Patreon. We're on 14 separate podcast platforms right now.
So as a small business owner, you can easily get your cell phone out and record a podcast, put it on anchor.fm, upload it. And here's the crazy thing. You can even monetize your podcast and make money off your marketing podcast.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the thing, Anchor, and I'm sure that there are other applications and services out there that do this, but Anchor will allow you put their app on your phone and you can record your podcast within the app. And your editing's done for you. Putting your monetization is done for you.
Copyright music's on there.
It's all in there. And then when you're done, click publish and you're done. It's there already.
Yeah, and I believe everybody needs a voice out there. I think this is the 21st century, like I said again, and you get bombarded by voices all the time. And everybody has their own opinion about things, and everybody wants to talk out loud about things. Like, this is how I started my business. I wish I knew this when I started my business. Well, the podcast is a great platform, and it's totally free.
And there are people out there with knowledge locked between their ears that would be very valuable to other people that are starting. And people will listen to that. Now, you may be thinking to yourself, oh, nobody's going to pay me for what I know. First of all, you don't know that.
Don't know that.
Right?
Yep.
You cannot take for granted the things that you know because there are other people out there that don't know that, and they wish that they did. Second of all, even if nobody ever pulls out their wallet and pays you for the knowledge that you've got, they're still listening. And wow, I needed that knowledge. I'll come back and I'll listen more.
Yeah.
I'll listen again.
Yeah.
I'll continue to listen. That consistent listenership, that still does turn into money in your pocket if you monetize your podcast.
Yeah.
Whether or not that person would have been willing to pull out their wallet and hand you a dollar bill for the knowledge that they got from you, the platform is willing to pay you for the knowledge that you gave, which afforded them the chance to advertise on your podcast.
Oh, yeah. It's like a ripple effect. It really is. Like this podcast, we're talking about you're doing a podcast and how you can get
This
your
is the
voice out there.
podcast.
This is the podcast.
Welcome to the podcast.
It's a ripple effect.
Thank you for joining us.
It's a ripple effect.
Yep.
And so now this person goes, well, you know what? I'm going to do a podcast. Hey, my best friend in the world. Hey, Lucy. Hey, Ben, whatever. I don't know, it's just names. Hey, Dave, the Encyclopedia Barbarian.
Yeah, I bet you there's a comic book called Ben and Lucy. I bet.
If not, we'll make one. And if, I make this podcast. How'd you do that podcast? This is how I did it. This is what we're basically doing right now. This is how we started our podcast. I want to tell everybody else about how to start their own podcast.
Absolutely.
It's a great format. It's a great way to get your message out. And I physically and mentally enjoy doing a podcast.
It's a good time.
Yeah.
Some people go to work and they're like, "Oh, I'm at work." Some people like us are lucky. We get to.
Oh, no.
I'm on my way to work. Woo!
I get to do podcasts and YouTube channels.
Get to podcast. Get to do YouTube videos. Get to help people. Bring value to people.
That's you know what, and this is gonna sound corny, but like
corny.
Who said that? This place is haunted, but like. Helping people. Like we helped out a couple of clients recently.
Yeah.
Right? They came to us with a problem. We said, well, this is what we do. This is what we can help you with. And we put them on the right path. And now I'm just waiting for them to blow up.
Yes.
And it's going to happen. And
really
I'm like a proud mother of another small business blowing up.
Yes.
I enjoy that. Because you are the superhero of your own story. You're the superhero of your business. And I want to help form a legion or a alliance of other superheroes of small businesses. And this podcast is how we communicate. Basically, it is.
Welcome to the Small Business Avengers.
Good morning, Vietnam. You know, kind of radio station out there, or whatever. But so this is what we do, and we love it, enjoy it. And this is something that you can do, and you'll love it, and you'll enjoy it. Clear, concise message. Be yourself on the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Podcasts are pretty much free nowadays to put out. They're not that complicated.
Yep. But that law of equal and opposite return, you put that value out there, and value comes back to you in a different form. You know, when you put that value, the knowledge that you have that you put out there, the entertainment value that you put out there, the usefulness that you put out there, it then comes back to you. It comes back to you with monetization of your podcast, with the positive reinforcement of others who reach out to you and say, "Wow, you really helped me with this." I mean, you can ride high on 2 or 3 days on somebody simply saying, "You really helped me out."
Most definitely.
You know? It was. I don't want to like get emotional or anything, but you know, somebody reached out to me recently saying that they were considering suicide, and then because they interacted with us, it was something that they were not thinking about anymore, and now they're starting working on their own project, their own dream. Because when somebody gets to a point where they feel like, in my life right now, I cannot achieve my dreams ever. Where I'm at right now, I don't have what it takes. I don't have the talent. I don't have the knowledge. I don't have the equipment. I don't have the money. I don't have the resources. I'll never accomplish the thing that's in my heart to do. That's a pretty devastating place to be.
That's rough.
And when you have somebody come along and simply say, "You know what, it really doesn't take anything. You can start with just the idea.
Mm-hmm.
Take the idea and plant it and let it grow, run with it." Just having that door opened where they thought it was closed before made a monstrous difference.
Yeah,
and,
most
I mean,
definitely.
It's amazing to have that impact on somebody. When to us, we're sitting in a room talking. You know, I'm having a conversation with my best friend over here.
Yeah, and see, here's another thing. You're being yourself. And being yourself equals success for your business.
Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe.
Extra, the Small Business Superheroes podcast on all of your favorite podcast platforms like Apple, Spotify, Google, Amazon, Anchor, iHeartRadio, and many more. Small Business Superheroes is powered by AMSDynamics.com.